welcome back to my channel. It's Jasmine. For those who are new, I'm a full-time nurse working in Ontario, Canada, but I also like to casually resell on the US and Canadian Poshmark app as well as eBay. You can find me at Afternoon Tea on the Canadian app as well as Tea Time on the US app. For today's video, I wanted to share 5 mistakes that I've made while being a reseller. Reselling is definitely a continual journey of just learning what sells well, the styles, the brands, etc. I personally am no expert, but these are just things that I've learned that I've made mistakes in the past. If you like reselling content like this, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. The first mistake that I want to share with you that I did was to pick up an item just because they had a high retail price, but this obviously does not equal their resale price. So I used to pick up brands just because I saw that it was an expensive brand and I didn't check the comparable sold listings. So this caused a lot of inventory that just sat for a really long time, or I just had to sell it at a very low profit margin. So the number one takeaway of this mistake was obviously to check comparable sold listings, especially the exact style and size of the item. My second mistake kind of goes hand in hand with not checking comparable sold listings, but it is actually not looking at how many available listings of that item is as well. If the market is oversaturated with the same item, just because everybody has them listed for maybe about $40 and I expect the item to sell for $40, if the market has so many of that one item, that item in your closet might sit for a while as well, just because there are so many other options. And it's a lot harder for a buyer to actually want to purchase from your closet specifically because there are other listings that are in other people's closets as well. This will obviously play a factor on how long an item will sit for in your closet, even though you're expecting a reasonable profit margin on the item. So not only did I not look at available listings, but I didn't look at the date that sold listings were as well. So in order to check comparable sold listings, you would look at the item and all the sold listings. But I used to just look at the sold listings and, the price point that I was trying to meet. And I didn't actually click on the listing and see the date that the item actually sold. So something that I'm trying to do a little bit more often is to actually look at the items that were sold and when they were sold. So let's say I was looking on the sold listings of the item that I am researching on. If I click the last sold listing and it was actually last updated maybe like a couple years ago or something like that, then I know that this style is way outdated and people were only buying it a couple years ago and they might not be searching for this item anymore. So these mistakes obviously impacted how long an item would sit in my closet for, and again would affect the turnaround rate. My third mistake that I made was buying shipping supplies. In my last shipping video, I mentioned that I used to pick up a lot of USPS shipping supplies from the third-party shipper that I used to use to sell on Poshmark US. However, I no longer use that company because I found another company, which is Stallion Express, which had a cheaper delivery fees than the one that I was using before. So now that I no longer have the option of picking up free USPS shipping supplies, a mistake that I made was that I bought a lot of shipping supplies, so that obviously, impacts the amount that you're investing in your business. I currently still buy a lot of poly mailers just because the delivery fees are cheaper for Poshmark US. So I currently still buy poly bags and poly mailers. But as for boxes, I mainly just keep boxes that I have delivered to my house. Like if I buy something online, if I'm buying groceries and they come in a box, if the box is sturdy enough, I keep those so that I can use them for selling on Poshmark Canada. Another option is to go to grocery stores, department stores, like Walmart, let's say. They're always willing to just give the boxes away that they use for unpackaging the items for their shelves. So there are a lot of options for cheap shipping supplies, cheap or even free. The fourth mistake that I want to talk about is not having an accurate documentation or spreadsheet for my inventory. A lot of the time I would source and bring the items home and I wouldn't update my spreadsheet right away. So sometimes I would have that inventory sit for a really long time before I actually input it into my spreadsheet. So this led to like a lot of mistakes. Sometimes I wouldn't remember if I bought an item for like a discounted price, if there was a sale going on that day, or sometimes I would take off the tags right away, and I would take off the tag before actually putting it in my spreadsheet. So this led to a lot of confusion, a lot of reliance on my memory. So this obviously is not something that I would recommend, and I definitely would suggest that you input your inventory right away in your spreadsheet when you bring it home, just so that you don't lose track of your inventory and the cost of goods for your items. Then the last mistake that I want to talk about is fighting over just a couple of dollars. So, a lot of the time you will have buyers that want to negotiate with you. You can go back and forth for a really long time. And sometimes if I get annoyed with the buyer because they keep lowballing me, or they're only going up with their offer a couple of dollars. Let's say my last offer was, $40 and their offer was $36. You might be slightly annoyed that they're fighting for that $4, but you are also fighting for that $4. Sometimes it's just better to make a sale and, make that profit that you would have made, rather than to just fight over the extra $3 after fees to have in your pocket. I'm definitely guilty of this one, because either I got frustrated with the buyer who just kept lowballing, or I thought that previous sold listings were, X amount of dollars, so I was really firm on making that X amount of dollars rather than, maybe $4 less. So that concludes today's video. Hopefully these mistakes kind of help you on what not to do, and hopefully it'll help grow your business as well, or, help prevent you from making the same mistakes that I did. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!